So today we're talking about Venus. And there are a lot of controversial things that I say about Venus because it's not about what's written in a certain book or what somebody has said. It's really about how Venus plays out in different horoscopes. What is that Venus doing in your horoscope is how an astrologer should ideally understand a planet. So, from my personal experience, I have seen Venus to be a planet of devotion, of dedication, and not the romantic love that we think of in movies. It's not about going around trees in saris and singing songs. It is not that, unfortunately. And people think that if my Venus is exalted or it's in a great condition, that's exactly what I'd be doing. The truth is, most people with exalted Venus find it hard to be with a partner, to find a partner, or to even feel like they can love a person that they're with. Because that initial connection perhaps happens because that could be intellectual, that could be sexual, doesn't matter. But to sustain that relationship, they will have very little desire to do that. Why is that? Every time I see Venus in its exalted position, I know that these are the sort of people who are actually looking for a very pure version of love. Exalted Venus means that it is placed in the zodiac sign of Pisces. That means it's the highest placement. Pisces is a sign of deep oceanic waters, the most spiritualized sign. And when you're putting a planet of devotion and affection in a sign, in a zodiac sign that's all about spirituality, this is not the sort of Venus that's going to be giving chocolates and flowers to their lovers. This is a Venus that will be inclined to loving God, loving something that's beyond this world, because this world is so corrupted, it's so adulterated in its communication, in its sense of commitment, in its sense of understanding what years ahead look like with another person, right? We get bored of people now. We want different conversations. We want love to validate us instead of us wanting to contribute to love. So, while these are very big things to understand, but very easy things to say and advise, this difference of having to live it and having to see it, there's a vast difference in it. And an exalted Venus wants to live that. It doesn't want to talk about it. And when I see Venus in its debilitated position, that Venus in Virgo, it's amazing. That's the one that actually gives you your chocolates and flowers. It'll take you out on the most amazing, most fascinating dates. That's the one that's here in this realm. It's not wanting to check out and say, oh, I want to be devoted to God, and that's my devotion. That's what I'm looking for in my partner. No, it's saying, you're flawed, I'm flawed. Let's have a relationship. And that's the sort of relationship that ends up working. I've seen so many people with debilitated Venus having long term relationships, having wonderful marriages. Of course, there could be other things that are affecting your marriage. It's also your partner's chart. It's also the rest of your horoscope that decides the quality of your relationship overall. But that sense of love, that sense of understanding what does it require for me to be devoted to someone and to have that long-term relationship with someone, the condition of Venus will help you understand the difference. The debilitation will help you understand your relationships in this realm, on this planet Earth, where relationships, communication, people's personalities, their very human side, it's all very corrupted. It's all very material now, because we also have to think of the yuga that we are living in. This yuga is full of corruption, right? There's nothing pure. Nobody's finding a Ram, nobody's finding a Sita. We are finding new Gen Z, Alpha, Millennials, whoever it is that you're in love with. These are people of today. They are probably writing a love letter to you using ChatGPT, right? So we need to understand where people are coming from, what will work in this time and age. Had you been in Ram and Sita's timeline, of course, exalted Venus will give you that sense of devotion. Oh, my partner is going into exile for 14 years, I will follow him. Nobody is following you into exile here, not in this time and age, right? So understanding Venus like this gives you a sense of reality. Now, this is an astrologer's perspective, right? But I am saying these things while you guys are living these things, right? You're experiencing relationships in your life in this time and age. So, from an astrologer's perspective, you have to remember that all of these things are very easy for me to see. But I know that there's a lot of intensity attached to it. There's a lot of pain and hurt and heartache attached to it. And not even for a second I'm discounting that when I'm saying the things that I'm saying. So today, I want to give you a very realistic perspective on Venus so that when you see that combination in your horoscope or in your partner's horoscope, you can understand yourself better, your partner better, and also the sort of love that both of you share, right? Because we are always delusioned by idealism. Oh, my love should be like this, my relationship should be like that. Idealism is very different from what you're living in reality. You probably have 3 kids, there's office, there's school, there is so much to manage, there are bills to be paid. Reality is very different, right? You see a movie and you come back home and you're saying, why is my partner not like that? So, to give you a perspective on all of this, let's have a very realistic conversation about Venus when Venus is in combination with another planet. So, as a rule, as an astrologer, what I have experienced is that when I see Venus in somebody's horoscope, and I see it alone, I don't see it with any other planet. In my observation, I see Venus perform much better as compared to Venus being in combination with another planet. Now, why is that? Okay. When I like someone, when I have any sort of attraction towards someone, you will notice if it's just my opinion, it's much better. When 10 people are talking about that same opinion, for example, when you tell your friend that, oh, this is the person I like, right? I'm really attracted to them. They will have some opinion, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't matter, but they will have a certain kind of opinion. Then you go tell a sibling about it. They will have a completely different opinion about it. You have a person at work that you're really close to and you tell them, oh, I'm attracted to so and so person. They will have a completely different opinion about it. After listening to all of these opinions, you're confused whether you're even attracted to this person or not, right? Or why you're attracted. You're questioning yourself, right? Oh, maybe his face is not great. Maybe, he's not tall enough. Maybe the way he dresses is not nice. All of these opinions have confused you. It's the same with Venus. Venus gets confused or gets influenced by other planets a bit too much. And I feel Venus does well when it has its own opinion, right? Confusion doesn't suit Venus. Why? Because Venus is a soft planet. It's a watery planet, the way we understand it in astrology. Watery planets, whether it's Moon or Venus, they both get influenced and affected very quickly. And they're very vulnerable. If you have a feeling, it's very quickly changed or altered by the opinion of somebody else, right? So I always feel Venus in isolation does much better. Even if it's in a slightly compromised zodiac sign, it's still doing better in comparison to Venus with any other planet. So today I'm discussing Venus with other planets to understand how it is getting compromised, right? So this video may not feel like the most optimistic and the most happy video to listen to, but sometimes it helps us to understand reality of our own faults, how we have a blind spot in situations, especially in the matters of love. We are destined to have a blind spot. Now, to what degree is your blind spot working in? That's nice to understand, right? So that you're not blaming yourself, you're not blaming your lineage, your parents, what you've learned. All of those things are put aside. Then very logically, you're trying to understand that there are certain settings in your horoscope that are creating certain results. So let's start with Venus in combination with Sun. Now, this is a very interesting combination because it's a very common one to begin with, because Venus is always very close to the Sun, right? In solar system also, we understand that logically that Venus is very close to the Sun. So it's usually one house apart. But in scenarios when Venus is in the same house as Sun, what happens? Now, I already shared with you that Venus is a very vulnerable planet, right? It's also a watery planet. What do we understand about Sun? Sun is a hot, fiery planet, and it's so hot that anything that goes close to it burns. Now, in a scenario when a watery planet is close to something so fiery, you will realize that the water evaporates. So in this scenario, attraction happens very quickly. It's a very passionate, very, a very interesting attraction happens where the person is intellectually, sexually, visually, in every sense attracted and impressed by the other person. Both parties, whether you have Venus in Sun or not, but if you are looking at a person with Venus and Sun also, they will also seem very impressive. Because why? Their Venus now has this power and light of the sun, right? So they automatically, a person with Venus and Sun in their horoscope will become very charming and charismatic on the outside. They themselves also get attracted to people in a very fiery, in a very, um, they I feel like they get very convinced that I'm attracted to this person, okay? Because it's so much passion that they feel. Now, here's the thing: what happens with such people is that the water evaporates eventually. So while the relationship starts with a lot of passion, it dies down. The person stops feeling the love after some time. Either this is the sort of person, depending on the rest of the horoscope, they will feel exhausted by the relationship, or they will say things like, "Oh, I feel so spent in this relationship. I feel so drained in this relationship because I've given it so much." Because the wateriness of Venus has now evaporated. So now we have a very dry Venus. So the relationship eventually becomes a little dry. So if you have this combination in your chart, I want you to be really aware of this setting, and I want you to tell yourself that this is something that happens with me. It's my tendency. Can I work on that? When awareness comes in, you can work on something, because love is a choice, how we say, right? Love is not something that you just come across and it's just circumstantial and you say, "Oh, this is destiny and I'm not going to make an effort." So make that choice to love the same person. If you're really committed about it, intellectually you feel like you're committed to it, I think you can definitely make an effort to continue this relationship. When I see Venus with Moon, while this is a person again falls in love very quickly, okay, and actually comes across a lot of people to fall in love with. These are the sort of people who will probably have a lot of relationships. The reason I'm saying is this because Moon is the planet of lust. When that combines itself with Venus, the planet of affection, you will realize these are the people who feel lustful towards a lot of people, not just one person. So these are the people who can have many relationships. Now, here's the thing, that what backfires is that Venus and Moon are both watery planets, both very vulnerable. So these are the people whose opinions about love will fluctuate. They will love someone today, they will not love them tomorrow. They will be in one relationship today and then be in another relationship tomorrow. This affects their mental health. Why their mental health? Because Moon is in the picture. Moon is the mind. Love will trouble them. Okay, love will create problems in the mind. It will affect them. Now, whether they're aware of it or not, that really depends on your Jupiter. Okay, or because Jupiter is consciousness, right? How conscious you are of whatever is happening around you. Again, if you bring in more planets into this mix, whether through aspects, whether through conjunctions, this gets aggravated even more. The confusion, the multiple relationships, all of that. So let's talk about Venus in combination with Mars. Whenever I see Venus with Mars, I know that we have this watery planet Venus with Mars, which is fiery, and it's literally like a soldier. It's always poking Venus. So they're not fighting the world together, they're usually fighting with each other. Mars wants to poke Venus. It understands that Venus is a weaker planet. I can dominate it, I can hurt it. What happens in this situation is that a person who has Venus and Mars together will feel hurt in love. Whenever they get into a relationship, there will be a sense of hurt, there will be a sense of sadness, betrayal. These are the sort of people who would probably have a lover, and it's probably the storyline of unrequited love. Oh, I had a lover, I couldn't get married to them. I had a lover, they broke my heart and left me. And then I have another lover. But my first love is what I hold in my heart for the rest of my life. Storylines like that, Venus and Mars, you know it instantly. Now, Venus with Mercury. Venus with Mercury is very interesting because we are putting a planet with a lot of vulnerability, which is Venus, it's watery, and then we have Mercury, which is an airy planet, which is all about communication. These people are charmers. They're the salesmen of the human race. They will sell themselves to you. They will sell ideas of love to you. They will sell anything that you can think of. These are the kinds who will sell an ice cream to an Eskimo. They're amazing salespeople. So professionally, they do really well in fields of sales and marketing. But personally, what happens with these people is that one, they're analyzing too much in love. They're great with conversations, but when it comes to authenticity, the hardcore matter that is required to sustain long-term relationships, a sense of seriousness. Because why? Why is seriousness lacking in this combination? Because both Mercury and Venus are quick-moving planets. They're always going around the sun very quickly. They don't have the patience to experience that long timeline. Let's say, you got married at 20 years of age, you're going to be married to a person till 100 years of age, till as long as you are on this planet. Their sense of permanence is low. So if you have this combination, it's very good to be aware that maybe you want excitement, maybe you want that dopamine hit, you want that high of having made a sale, right? So it works great professionally, but personally, you can't keep making a sale every time. You don't want to be one of those people on dating apps and getting a lifetime membership. I think that's a bit of an issue, because if you're getting a lifetime membership of just dating people, then that's what becomes a pattern, right? And this is the combination that can really go either way depending on the rest of the chart. The consciousness levels can really, take a person to dating for the rest of their lives, or actually finally at a certain age and stage committing to a long-term relationship. Now, when I think of Venus with Jupiter, Jupiter is a guru and Venus is a guru in Vedic astrology. Jupiter is Brihaspati and Venus is the Asura guru Shukracharya. But here's the thing, that internally Jupiter and Venus are standing for two very different things. Brihaspati is the guru of the Devas, Shukracharya is the guru of the Asura. So they're while their wisdom is so much and they don't have a problem with each other when they're together, there could be a sense of conflict in terms of your belief systems in relation to love, in relation to marriage. And this is the sort of combination I've seen that actually does really well in the second half of life. In the first half of life, these people are just about learning, so they can be confused about what is it that they truly want in love. Do they want a committed relationship? Do they just want to date people? Do they want a person who is very rich? Do they want to be rich themselves? All of these can be ideas that are all very mixed up. When I think of Venus with Saturn, I've seen these people to actually have relationships in the latter half of their lives and not so many relationships in the first half of their lives. They take time to evolve, to grow, to mature. And because there is that impact of Saturn on Venus, these are people who are actually very serious about their understanding of love and affection. They're not about wearing saris and dancing around trees and singing Bollywood songs. Their understanding of love and affection is very practical. They understand that if I'm getting married to someone, I have to clean the kitchen counter, I have to cook, I have to bathe my children, I have to take the garbage out of the house. Very duty oriented love. So, where's the point of conflict in this? Maybe your partner is not that. Maybe your partner wants to go out on foreign vacations. They want to go out for candlelight dinners. These are the sort of people with Venus Saturn combination might find it as, what a waste of money. Why are we doing that? We can have that same date night at home. Just light a candle at home. So this practicality sometimes can be a little boring for your partner, right? Like I said, this will bring in delay in relationships. Again, depending on the rest of your horoscope, the placement of Mars, all of this will define how soon you fall in love, how soon you get married. But Saturn will bring in delays. It will require you to work hard towards your relationship. Now, when I think of Venus and Rahu is a combination that is very interesting, because this gets people to get into professions of media or anything that is very visually exciting, glitzy and glamorous. So usually their life will bring them a lot of opportunities to have relationships, to meet a lot of people, to also be great communicators in the sense that they can impress people by just the way they are, the way they carry themselves. They don't have to make too much of an effort. But here's the thing with Venus Rahu. Satisfaction in love doesn't come easily, because Rahu is constantly distracting you. You get into a relationship with one person and Rahu then taps your shoulder and says, look at that person. This other person is very exciting as well. And the minute you commit to this other person, then Rahu taps on your shoulder and says, wow, I found another really great person for you to be in a relationship with. So that sense of distraction continues. Your focus in affection is reduced. Now, again, if If you have a combination like this, my advice always is that tell yourself that this is a setting in my chart. I need to be more aware of it. When I'm looking for long-term committed relationships, I know that these people are looking for a certain kind of love that's intoxicating, because Rahu is intoxication, right? Rahu is also adulteration. They want to do something which is unusual in love. They want that unusual excitement in love, which normal everyday love cannot bring you, right? The everydayness of love is very boring. But if these people get into love, they're expecting excitement constantly. So a note for their partners that sometimes to do unusual things, whether it's going out on a date, whether it's going for a surprise holiday. All of these things really matter a lot for people who are having this combination of Venus and Rahu. Now, when we're thinking of Venus and Ketu, while it's a very spiritualized way of loving someone when they have this combination, I have seen, and it's not that it denies relationships, let me tell you, because a lot of people have this idea of Ketu that, oh, it'll cut a relationship, it'll end my relationship abruptly. No, I haven't really seen that so much. There are always exceptions to this rule. And that's why I want to tell you that I have seen people with Venus and Ketu in marriages, in long-term marriages, having many children, grown-up children, all of that. But here's what happens with Venus and Ketu. Venus and Ketu will bring in the tendency to find faults in your lover. Even the smallest stuff can annoy you in a relationship. And here's the irony of it. If your partner's cheated on you, that doesn't bother you. The big stuff does not bother you. It's the small stuff. The person sitting right next to you, breathing too loudly, making a sound while chewing. The small stuff bothers you, and I want you to be really aware of that. Why? Because Ketu is the small stuff, it's not the big stuff, right? So keep that in mind when you have Venus and Ketu, that you could have the tendency to do that. Don't be so harsh on people around you, especially when you're in a relationship, because Venus is the lover. You will not do this to your friends, you will not do this to your siblings, you will do this to your lover. So please be aware. And I feel like the best thing to do in this situation is that together with your lover, you can actually do spiritual practices, doing pranayam together, going to a yoga class together, going to the temple, going for a pilgrimage, going into the mountains, going into isolation. It'll help your relationship a lot. So these were my short takes on these combinations. Of course, as an astrologer, when I'm looking at a chart, when I'm assessing your relationship, I'm looking at so many other things. If I'm matching the horoscopes, I am looking at the compatibility not just of Venus, not just of Moon, but the rest of the horoscope as well. So it's so important to judge these things. It's so important to not look at Venus only in isolation, but it helps you get a reality check on the way you look at relationships and also understand your own love language. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, comment below what you think about this video. And if you want to know more, visit my website. The address is given below. You can start your beginner's astrology course there. You can start off meditation practices. You have some ebooks to read. Otherwise, just drop a message there. And I would love to know more about you, get to know you better. So till then, till my next video, I'll see you. Bye-bye.